Learners at Chirwabusiku Razumisani Special School celebrate the launch of the Inclusive Education Campaign. The campaign seeks to ensure that all children have an equal opportunity to access basic education. Over 200 learners have been enrolled at the school. Depending on each learner's interest and talents, the sky is no limit in terms of the trades they can participate in. Among the learners is Ndanganeni Mabonga's 16-year-old son, Patuchezo. Patuchezo was diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder at birth. His mother says it was hard for her to accept their son's condition, but the fear of further stigmatization grew worse when her 11-year-old son, Oyakona, was also diagnosed with the same condition.
It was too hard for me to accept Uri, my second child, also have disability. It was straining to know that my second child is also going to a special school. It takes me maybe 2 months being indoors, not speaking to anyone. And I end up going to different places looking for a school, whereas there is a school nearby. I go to as far as Limpopo to need for registration for my child.
Another mother, Matozimula Mavu, also recalls a struggle to accept her daughter's autism diagnosis.
At first, it was difficult for me as a mother to accept that I've got a child with disability, because the stigma around where I was staying, or the people, you know, how can you have a disabled child? What did you do to the child after giving birth? The child is bewitched or whatnot. So I struggled. At first, I didn't want to get my child here at the local village that I'm staying at. I even go to Pulukwane, I even go to Toyando there, and then I realized I cannot nurse somebody else's child, whereas I've got my own child whom I'm ashamed of. So I must be strong and not be ashamed of my daughter, and then take responsibility.
The Limpopo Education Department says, though there are budgetary constraints, they are committed to ensuring that all children with intellectual disabilities can access education.
Limpopo as a whole has 25 schools for learners with severe intellectual disabilities. And these schools are not municipally or locally based, and it wouldn't be correct for us as the province to say they are enough. Maybe we don't need a special school in each and every local municipality, but we need enough with enough facilities. We have challenges of adequate classes, in spaces in terms of classrooms, spaces in terms of workshops, spaces in terms of boarding facilities, because as these are provincial schools, they learn better in a resident approach.
The parents, however, call for the simplification of the application process.
The child is registered at a provincial level, and maybe because they've transferred the child that side, the child is not at school, is staying at home. So the process is a mess. It's not like before, wherein they will say, bring the psychological report, your IDs, previous report, letter from the school, and the child is registered. And that process is delaying the children.
As part of its inclusive education campaign, the department says its partnership with the Department of Social Development has ensured that social workers that are stationed at all government preschools can assess and refer children with intellectual disabilities.
They can take them to our ECDs for assessment. That assessment will then be able to help us to actually advise the parent on what to do with the child. And we are saying we don't want to leave any child behind, because these are rural, Limpopo is a rural community, and anything that happens, people think of stigma before actually thinking of helping the child.
The department also says it struggles to retain specialized professionals in many of its special schools that are located in rural areas.
They are fairly young professionals, and the rural setup, an area like this one, amongst other things here, they are challenged by water. There's not enough water. Now you can imagine how would a young person, and some of them coming from urbanized areas, there's a challenge of schools for their children. You know? So those are the things that are really, really challenging. The rurality and the available facilities for further opportunities for them as individuals. When it's knock-off time for the OT, where is the nearest mall here for that young occupational therapist, you know? There's also a network problem somewhere else. So it gets very difficult for a rural province like Limpopo to retain these professionals.
And a word of advice to other parents.
To the parents who have kids with disability, come out of the closet. Tell people what's happening around your life, because you'll die and no one will know, Uri, how to treat your kids, how to help them.
May you please not hide your child. Let your child play with other kids. Ask for help if there's a need for help, and don't beat your child.
Most of the items that are produced by these learners are sold at various markets. The learners are also taught business literacy skills to ensure that they can commercialize their trade and participate in the economy. Beman Baloi, SABC News, Churabusiku in Limpopo.